So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a move that is going to separate, and it separates, I would say, elitist and low handicap golfers, athletic looking golfers to high amateur golfers. And what we tend to see with an elitist golfer is they have this ability to really sort of stay down and rotate through the ball and extend their arms through. Whilst when we tend to see a lot of amateurs, they tend to struggle. We tend to see amateur golfers who have a tendency to rotate through the ball, but they sort of swing over the top. Or we tend to see golfers that don't rotate through the ball because they're worried about rotating because of swinging over the top, and they just sort of stand up and throw their arms at it and get stuck. And the reality is that if you want to have a more movement similar to that elitist golfer where you learn how to rotate while staying down, then you need to understand this motion. And like I say, it's the big move that's going to take you to that next level in your game. Now, the first thing that you want to do, in my opinion, this is what I work with a lot of my students, is first of all, just work on your rotational motion. So let's do that for a moment first. What I would suggest is flare your lead foot a little bit more towards the target. Put your hands across your shoulders or wherever, and then just sort of practice as I'm doing here. Just see the way the upper part of my lead leg, my pelvis or my belt buckle and my chest are just rotating towards the target. Now, as I'm doing this, you see the way I'm just trying to keep my head still, so I'm not sort of moving my head off. And this would be a good indication of a good amount of rotation, because similar to the shot that I just hit a moment ago, you do need in the golf swing to possess good rotation so you can keep those arms moving through the ball. And if you're a golfer who doesn't demonstrate good rotation, then that's the type of drill that you need to be incorporating first and foremost. The last thing we want is you sort of standing up in the golf swing. So if that feels like quite a lot of rotation, do that drill solely and get used to that. And then once that starts to feel a little bit like the normality, then you can start to incorporate this second part. Now, what happens, you see, is if we are improving our rotation, but we rotate, shall we say, the shoulders and the hips or the pelvis area, this lower body region and the shoulders at the same rate of rotation, then that will make us swing over the top. So what that means is as I start my downswing, if I work on that feeling of moving my chest and my pelvis towards the target, but see the way I'm allowing my shoulders to move at the same rate as where my lower body is moving, this makes me come over the top. Even if I keep my head still, it still makes me come over the top. And if I show you from this perspective, again, sort of over the top. So this is where I think golfers get lost. And what you need to try and do, and this is something that works very well with students of mine and drills in and around this subject, is what you want to be doing is you want to get the feeling as you're starting this downswing that yes, you're moving your chest, yes, you're moving your pelvis and you're moving the upper part of that lead leg towards the target. But what you've also got to do is try and get a feeling of that trail shoulder dropping down simultaneously. And what this will do is this will produce, if you like, an element of separation. And separation just basically means that the lower body is working different to the upper body. And when you start to do that, so you might want to play around with the consciousness of trying to keep your shoulders a bit squarer. With a lot of students of mine, getting the feeling of dropping the shoulder down works particularly well. And what this will do is this will change everything about your swing. Because if I now sort of demonstrate, put my hand across my left shoulder and just again do the wrong move, which is this. And then this time what I'm going to do is I'm still going to do the same rotation. So I'm still rotating my chest, but I'm dropping my right shoulder down. This now means that my lower body is opening. So my pelvis is open to target, but see the way my shoulders are now square. And if I do that this time with my right arm, see the way that can drop the club on plane, which means that I can keep rotating and deliver the club on the back of the ball, and it stops any of these over the top moves. So what I do with all my students, and the same that I'd suggest for you guys, is I do one thing at a time. If I'm working with a student who doesn't rotate, I work on rotation first. Stumble across the over the top problem when it's relative. And I would say 99% of golfers don't do this. They don't rotate first. So practice that. Don't be too fearful of the over the top. But once that over the top move starts to rear its ugly head, then at least now you have a contingency plan to put in play to stop that from happening. And that is to practice dropping the right shoulder down or your trail shoulder down. And then what this will do, like I've demonstrated, this will give you that ability to keep rotating through the ball, but you're also going to be able to drop that shoulder down, which is going to give you the angle that you see with all the professional golfers, where they look like they stay down here and they look this way. That's what you're looking for, this type of motion here. And that's going to happen by practicing the drills that I've recommended in this video. See you soon.